10 years ago, I gave up all my expensive hobbies. I quit smoking, stopped drinking, and worked myself to the bone, all to provide a comfortable life for my wife, Clara, and the 3 children she had given me. When people around me would gently suggest that the children didn't look much like me, I would fly into a rage, accusing them of having ulterior motives. Then, one of my children fell ill and was hospitalized. When I saw the blood type on the lab report, it was as if I had been plunged into an icy abyss. Faced with my questions, Clara was unfazed, offering an absurd explanation. She had taken medication while pregnant, causing the child's genes to mutate. In a fit of anguish, I threw the report at her face. Do you think I'm a complete idiot? You think I have zero medical knowledge? How can taking medicine during pregnancy change a child's genes? Even if the medicine altered the genes, could it change the blood type? I'm type O and you're type O. How in the world could we have a type B child? Clara remained unervingly calm. I told you, I was sick when I was pregnant and took a lot of medicine. It changed the baby's genes. Do you even understand what genes are? Her expression shifted. I get it now. You're doubting me. With that, her eyes grew misty, her face a mask of profound hurt. Leo, you're doubting me. After everything I went through to marry you? After all the pain and suffering I endured to give you these 3 children? A single tear traced a path down her cheek. Our eldest was a shoulder dystocia birth. They had to perform an episiotomy. I still have the scar. More tears followed. Our second was a C-section. Another slice across my belly. And having our third so soon after, do you have any idea how risky that was? The doctors said the old scar on my uterus could rupture and kill me. Have you no conscience? By now, she was nearly hysterical, her accusations punctuated by a torrent of tears. My heart clenched. Everything she said was true. She had suffered immensely to bring our children into the world. Even our marriage had been a source of great strife for her. She was the only child of parents who worked in the government system, and they had vehemently opposed our union. But she had married me anyway, without a second thought, without even asking for a bride price. She had been willing to fall out with her parents for my sake, a rift that only began to heal after the children were born. That had to be true love, didn't it? I used to feel that meeting her was the greatest fortune of my life. For her, I sold my gaming accounts, my bicycle, my mountain climbing gear. The day she became pregnant with our first, I quit smoking and drinking for the health of our child. I did everything to give them a better life. When her parents were ill, I cared for them without complaint, handling even the most unpleasant tasks. And my reward for a decade of devotion was this: a betrayal so blatant it made a mockery of my entire life. Suddenly, I saw my years of love as a pathetic, boy groveling. I was a clown in a circus of my own making. Though she wept before me, a voice inside me screamed not to give in. Let's get a divorce. The words trembled as they left my lips. I saw her crying cease, replaced by a look of pure shock. She probably never imagined I would be the one to suggest it. For 10 years, her word had been law in our home. Whatever she wanted, save for the stars in the sky, I would provide. Every time she lost her temper, I would be the one to humbly beg for forgiveness, swearing never to upset her again. I was always the one to bow my head. Humans are emotional creatures, but for a decade, I had suppressed everything but my gentlest side for her. Now, I was just tired. Uttering those 3 words felt like shedding an immense weight. Divorce? Her voice shot up an octave. She stood, clutching the child. You want to divorce me? When I slowly nodded, her face contorted with rage. Tell me, is there someone else? Is that why you want to abandon us? Leo, I gave you 3 children. Even if there's no merit, there's years of hard work. How can you be so cruel? The sleeping child in her arms began to wail. The sound was like a knife in my heart. I reached out to take the baby, to soothe him. But Clara recoiled, her head held high. Are you trying to hit me? No, I just... You dare raise a hand to me? It seems I made the wrong choice all those years ago. What do you mean by that? Nothing. It means I've been too good to you. It's made you complacent. It's made you arrogant. She was being utterly unreasonable. I sighed, the fight draining out of me. When the baby is discharged, I'll have the divorce papers ready for you. The words were a struggle. I clenched my jaw, turned, and walked out of the room, her accusations following me down the hall. I wandered the streets aimlessly. Sometime during my days, it began to rain. I tilted my head back, letting the cold drops fall on my face, the only way to mask the tears that were already streaming from my eyes. My phone buzzed incessantly in my pocket. I didn't want to answer. I didn't want to see anyone. All I wanted was to escape. The years of dedication had been repaid with raw betrayal. I sat on a bench at a bus stop, watching the traffic flow by, a dark impulse rising within me. What if I just walked into the middle of the road and let a car end it all? The phone rang again. After a moment's hesitation, I pulled it out. It was the children's grandmother. I took a deep breath and answered. "Daddy, where are you? I miss you." "Daddy, I miss you too. When are you coming to take us home?" The voices of my eldest two children came through the phone. I clamped a hand over my mouth, my body shaking with silent sobs. They say a man doesn't cry easily, but that's only because he hasn't reached his breaking point. "Daddy, why aren't you talking?" "It's raining, Daddy. I'll tell you a secret. Grandpa bought me a lollipop, but I didn't eat it. I saved it for you." I struggled to compose myself, swallowing hard. When I finally spoke, my voice was thick with unshed tears. "Daddy's here. You two be good. Daddy will be there to take you home very soon." I hung up quickly, terrified I would lose control and they would hear my choked voice. Thinking of their sweet, innocent faces, I sighed deeply. The children were blameless. A divorce was simple, but what about them? Children of single-parent homes often face challenges. I couldn't trust Clara to care for them. What was I supposed to do? My hands tangled in my hair, fingers digging into my scalp. I was trapped in a cycle of indecision, pain, and ruthless clarity. The phone rang again. It was Clara. I hesitated, but I knew I couldn't run from this forever. "Hello. Leo, you have to come back now. The baby's condition has suddenly gotten worse. He's in the emergency room." I shot to my feet and sprinted back towards the hospital. Outside the emergency room, I saw her pacing anxiously. I rushed up to her. "What happened to the baby?" "I don't know. I just went to the bathroom, and when I came back, he was having trouble breathing." Her tone was flustered as if she were hiding something. "He's only 6 months old. How could you leave him alone in the room?" The words were out of my mouth before I could stop them, followed by a wave of self-reproach. If I hadn't left, maybe this wouldn't have happened. The emergency room doors swung open, and a nurse emerged. I leaped to my feet. "Nurse, how is my son?" The young nurse gave me an exasperated look. "We've stabilized him. His airway is still a bit swollen, so we need to move him to the ICU. For observation." "How can you parents be so careless? Didn't you know your child has severe allergies? Why would you feed him mango puree?" "Allergies. When he was 3 months old, I had given him a mixed fruit puree, and he had broken out in a terrible rash. I had been sick with worry and guilt. After that, I was painstakingly careful with his food." How could she not know? Perhaps it was a genuine oversight. I tried to make excuses for her in my mind, holding back further accusations. Back in the hospital room, I noticed a fruit basket on the bedside table that hadn't been there before. Next to it was a half-eaten mango, a spoon with traces of puree resting beside it. I had only been gone for a short while. Where did the basket come from? Just then, the door opened, and a familiar figure walked in. Julian, Clara's first love. He had been her ardent suitor back in the day. If his family hadn't forcibly sent him abroad, Clara and I might never have gotten together. What was he doing here? Weren't they supposed to have cut ties long ago? Before I could speak, he beat me to it. "Don't get the wrong idea. I'm just here to see Clara and the baby." "Where's the baby?" Clara bit her lip. "He had an allergic reaction. He's in the ICU." I could hear a hint of blame in her voice. "Is it serious?" Julian seemed even more worried than I was. "Should I call in a few favors?" "That won't be necessary." I watched them, a frown creasing my brow. A strange feeling washed over me, the sense that I was the intruder here. Julian turned to me, his voice sharp with accusation. "Leo, I have to say, how are you taking care of Clara and the kids? You let the baby have an allergic reaction and end up in the ICU? Do you even know what the ICU is? It's the intensive care unit. How did I take care of them? Meticulously. I cut and sewed their cloth diapers myself. I washed every piece of clothing and every diaper by hand. On cloudy days, when I was afraid they wouldn't dry, I would press them against my cheek to feel for any lingering dampness. Preparing baby food, warming milk, changing diapers, lulling them to sleep. I would wake up a dozen times a night. My hair fell out in clumps. To this day, I still wake up multiple times a night out of habit, even when the children aren't there. And Clara? She never cooked a meal or did a single chore. I did it all. From the birth of our first child, I had shielded her from every hardship. Why aren't you talking? Feeling guilty, Julian pressed on. I glanced at Clara. She offered no defense, acting as if Julian were berating a stranger. Didn't she know? Didn't she see my sacrifice? I knew it. You're a disgrace. Are you even a man? I finally snapped. Whether I'm a man or not is none of your business. You're not welcome here. Please leave. That's enough. My words were met with a sudden outburst from Clara. My child is sick, and you're throwing a tantrum? Leo, I know you're jealous. Julian was just being kind, visiting me and the baby. Do you have to overreact like this? I was stunned. I couldn't believe she would say that to me. And the baby, she brought up the baby. A fire ignited in my gut. I looked at Julian, and a thought struck me like lightning. The fruit basket. Julian brought it. And the mango. Julian fed it to the baby? I walked over to the basket, picked up a mango, and turned to Clara. Who sent this fruit basket? Before she could answer, Julian spoke up brazenly. I did. What's wrong with that? Can't I bring some vitamins for a new mother and her child? Honestly, you won't even buy your wife some fruit. Are you even a competent husband? It was just as I suspected. Julian had arrived the moment I left. My chest heaved. And did you feed the baby mango? Of course I did. Like I said, a little vitamin C. I scraped the puree myself with a spoon. The baby loved it. I wanted to punch him. Julian, the baby will be fine. Otherwise, I won't let you off the hook. At that moment, Clara stepped between us. Leo, don't make a big deal out of nothing. The baby is fine now, isn't he? I had held my tongue before, but now, she was defending an outsider. I couldn't accept it. I'm making a big deal? Do you have any idea that food allergies can be fatal? We're lucky we're in a hospital. If this had happened anywhere else, if we had been late getting here, the baby could have died. Clara frowned. But it didn't happen. Julian was just trying to help by looking after the baby and feeding him. What a ridiculous excuse. I wanted to smash everything in the room. At this point, she was still defending him. I felt it again, stronger. This time, I was the outsider. Looking at the scene before me, thinking about the baby's blood type, the truth began to surface. Is this child his? I warned. Clara looked flustered. What are you talking about? Don't slander people. But behind her, Julian grew excited. What do you mean? Clara, is this baby mine? No, it's not. Clara's panic intensified, her eyes darting around the room. I knew it. I knew it. This has to be my child. I suspected it before. I even counted the dates. It was when I came back to the country last year, wasn't it? My mind exploded. So, they had been involved all along. Clara had cheated on me a year ago. It all added up. The baby's age, the B-type blood. Why? I screamed at Clara. Her face was a mask of defiance, without a trace of shame. For no reason. It's because you didn't take care of her properly. Julian chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Don't you know women need care after childbirth, or they can get postpartum depression? Do you know anything about romance? About passion? The rage in my chest was about to erupt. I raised my fist. I know your mothers. Clara blocked my path. All you know is violence. Yes, I admit it. The child is his. I was depressed during that time, facing 2 children every day. My life was so dull. I just wanted to make up for the regrets of my youth. What's wrong with that? What kind of twisted logic was this? Making up for regrets meant cheating? Sleeping with an old flame? Getting pregnant and having his child? The fist I had raised fell to my side, my body suddenly limp and powerless. Julian spoke again. Leo, don't take it so hard. We were just making up for regrets. You understand regrets, don't you? It was all my fault. I drank too much that night. I lost control. Don't worry, I can compensate you with money. The humiliation was already unbearable. Now he was trying to bury me with money. In that moment, I wanted to kill him. But the faces of my other 2 children flashed in my mind, and I forced my anger down. I pushed past them and headed for the door. You're so petty, Julian called after me. If we're talking about time, I knew Clara long before you did. If my parents hadn't sent me abroad, we would have been married years ago. The other 2 children should have been mine too. You wouldn't have even been in the picture. My heart died then, completely and utterly. A divorce was no longer a question. But first, I had to get my children. I ran all the way to my father-in-law's house. Daddy, you're finally here to get us. Hearing my voice, the 2 children came running out, clinging to me, chattering excitedly. I knelt and hugged them, a lump forming in my throat. Have a lollipop. Both of their small hands held out lollipops, eagerly trying to stuff them into my mouth. A sweet taste filled my mouth, but my heart was bitter. Since you're here, take the kids and go. Your mother and I are old. We need our peace and quiet. The children are too noisy. My father-in-law's voice cut through the tender moment. Looking at their expressionless faces, I gritted my teeth. Fine. I picked up the children and walked out. The door slammed shut behind me. I could faintly hear my mother-in-law complaining. Look at The attitude on your good-for-nothing son-in-law. We help him watch his kids, and instead of being grateful, he gives us a sour face. I wanted to kick the door down and tell them exactly what their precious daughter had done, but I just sighed and headed for the elevator. Back at home, the pain intensified. The decision to divorce was final. Julian's last words echoed in my mind. That if it weren't for me, he and Clara would have been together. That all 3 children should have been his. The words were designed to kill my spirit. Suddenly, I looked at my 2 older children. A monstrous thought took root in my mind, a thought that grew and festered like a poison. I decided to get them tested as well. A day later, I stared at the 2 paternity reports in my hand, completely lost. My eldest 2 children were not mine either. In that instant, my world crumbled. I leaned against the wall for support, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. 10 years. I had given 10 years of my life to raise children for that despicable pair. Everything I had done felt like a joke. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother-in-law. I answered, and she immediately launched into a tirade. Leo, you've gotten bold, haven't you? Daring to leave my daughter and the baby at the hospital? Have you no conscience? I always knew you were an ungrateful beast. I hung up, ran back home, grabbed the 2 children, and drove to her house. I ignored every call that came in on the way. When I walked in, I saw a pile of gifts and Clara sitting on the sofa, holding the baby. My in-laws' faces darkened the moment they saw me. So now you hang up on me? Do you know how many times I called you? Mom, there are some things I don't want to say, things that are beneath me. I have some dignity left. Why don't you ask your daughter what she's done? My mother-in-law was unfazed. I already know about it. So she had a baby with Julian. What's the big deal? If you hadn't interfered back then, they would have been together. Long ago. Julian's family is wealthy. His genes are good. He's 100 times better than you. You got a genetically superior child for free, and you're still not happy. Her words left me speechless. Seeing my silence, she thought she had won. Besides, he said he'd compensate you with money. You should be secretly celebrating. Ha ha. The laughter that burst from me was pure, unadulterated rage. I sent the 2 bewildered children to their room and closed the door before slowly pulling the 2 paternity reports from my pocket. The eldest 2 aren't mine either. Is there any man on this earth who could accept that? My in-laws were momentarily stunned. But Clara stood up. What's so unacceptable about it? As a man, you should be more generous. Is bloodline really that important? People who can't have children adopt, don't they? And in the end, don't those children still care for them in their old age? Do you know what you're doing? You're hurting the children, you're hurting me, and you're hurting my parents. But you did it anyway. All this means is that you don't want the children, and you don't want me anymore. You just want a divorce, right? Fine. I'll give you what you want. I shook my head. You talked to me about hurt? Did you ever think about how you were hurting me when you were cheating? Clara looked surprised. Hurting you? That's just you being petty. It was a small thing, and you're still harping on it. What's the point of talking so much? Clara's mother stepped in front of her daughter protectively. Divorce. Get a divorce right now. I was against this marriage from the start. I knew he was a heartless man. See, wasn't I right? I really wasn't wrong about him, Clara's father added. Just then, the door opened, and Julian walked in, carrying bags of baby supplies. My in-laws' faces immediately lit up with smiles. Julian, you're here? Come in, come in. You shouldn't have brought anything. Julian glanced at me, a smirk on his lips, his eyes glinting with triumph. He placed the bags on a table. I came to see my children. He emphasized the word my. He then took the baby from Clara, kissing and cooing at him. Julian, give the baby back to Clara and come sit down. I'll go cook. I remember you love eel. I'll make it for you right now. The stark contrast between my mother-in-law's warmth towards Julian and her coldness towards me was all the proof I needed. I finally understood. Some hearts can never be warmed, no matter how much you give. They had wanted Julian from the start. I was just a substitute. He was richer, more handsome, the son-in-law they had always dreamed of. Suddenly, the 2 older children ran out of the room, looking around in confusion. My father-in-law put his arms around them. You're just in time. Come and meet your real father. Julian's eyebrows shot up. These 2 are mine as well? He asked, overjoyed. My father-in-law handed him the paternity reports. Don't you think they both look like you? After glancing at the reports, Julian burst into tears of joy. He grabbed the struggling children and hugged them tightly. Daddy, save me and my brother. The children cried out to me in panic. My heart felt like it was being torn apart, but I turned my face away. I grabbed the doorknob, my eyes red. I looked back one last time. Clara, I'll see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I didn't wait for a reply. I walked out and slammed the door behind me. I couldn't stand to be in that room for another second. Outside, the world was spinning. I sat on the curb for a long time before I could collect myself. My biggest worry was the children. But seeing Julian's reaction, he would probably treat them well. I didn't sleep a wink. The next morning, I dragged myself to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Julian arrived in a Mercedes with Clara. They got out of the car, clinging to each other like a pair of lovebirds. I thought my heart had turned to stone, but I couldn't stop myself. Clara, we are not divorced yet. Can you have some decency? Who's not being decent? What difference does it make if we're divorced or not? Leo, I know you were good to me. I remember that. But love isn't just about being good to someone. Look at the bag. Julian bought me. It's a Hermes. Look at my necklace. It's a limited edition. The older two are going to a private school. The baby has a nanny. The life I want is something you can never provide. And besides, she added, her voice dripping with scorn, I was with you for 10 years, and you never got me pregnant. That means there's something wrong with you. The fact that I was willing to have children and let you raise them, that was me accumulating good karma for you. Your ancestors must have done something right for you to find a woman as good as me. Julian immediately chimed in. Clara's right. You have a problem, but you're too ashamed to admit it, so you blame her. What kind of man are you? But thank you for taking care of Clara for 10 years, and for raising my children for 10 years. Like I said, I'll compensate you with money. I'm a man of my word. Suddenly, his phone rang. He looked at it, hesitated, and then answered. His brow furrowed, and a look of panic crossed his face. What? Mom, what did you say? Okay, I'm coming back right now. He hung up, flustered. Clara, something's come up at home. I have to go back. You're not mad at me, are you? Darling, if you have something to do, go do it. The children and I will wait for you. After Julian sped away, Clara turned to me, her voice cold. What are you waiting for? Let's go in. But the divorce was not so simple. There was a mandatory 30-day cooling-off period. We left, disappointed. The next few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights, a habit ingrained from years of childcare. I decided I needed a change of scenery. I took a long leave of absence from work and traveled around the country. Time, it turns out, is the best medicine. My sleep gradually returned to normal. I even stopped losing so much hair. I felt more energetic than I had in years. The last lingering attachment I had to the children faded with time. On the last day of the cooling-off period, I finally got my divorce certificate. Perhaps out of guilt, or perhaps because she had found her golden goose, Clara was surprisingly generous. She didn't ask for the house or our meager savings. She only wanted custody of the 3 children. I wasn't surprised. 10 years of my life, all for nothing. But I was also grateful. If she hadn't cheated, I would never have found this sense of freedom. My luck seemed to turn after the divorce. I excelled at work, closing several large deals and earning a hefty commission. One day, an unknown number called. Thinking it was a client, I answered. It was Clara. How are you? Great. Do you need something? I'd like to talk to you. I couldn't imagine what we had left to talk about. I was about to refuse when her voice broke. I was wrong. I just want to apologize properly. All right. 6 o'clock tonight, the coffee shop downstairs from my apartment. It had been a while. She looked haggard. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. We ordered 2 coffees. She seemed hesitant. I knew this wasn't just about an apology. Finally, she spoke. I know the thing with the kids hurt you, but I wasn't entirely in the wrong. I have a right to pursue the life I want. It's been a long time. You should have forgiven me by now, right? A scar, once formed, never truly disappears. I just smiled. What's the point of talking about forgiveness now? No, it's important. You have to forgive me. I know you love me. And this whole thing wasn't really my fault. If anything, it was fate. She still hadn't realized her mistake. Now she was blaming it on fate. How absurd. Okay, I forgive you, I said, just to move things along. Is there anything else? A smile finally touched her lips. I knew you would. It's like this. Julian's family business is in big trouble. They need a lot of money to save it. I sold my parents' house and borrowed from friends and family, but there's still a shortfall. I was hoping you could come up with $1 million to help him. Why would I help him? Because you used to love me so much. And you love the children. The private school and the nanny cost a lot of money. Can't you just consider this your contribution? I was genuinely curious about how her mind worked. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't have that kind of money. I had received a bonus recently, but it was nowhere near $1 million. It was about 1/10 of that. All my money had been spent on her and the children over the years. I had no savings. And now she wanted me to give money to my enemy? What a joke. Her next words set a new standard for audacity. I know you don't have the cash, but you could mortgage your house, get a loan from the bank. Once Julian's family gets through this, that money will be nothing to him. I laughed. I'm sorry, but that house was left to me by my parents. I will never sell it. My refusal made her angry. Leo, have you no humanity? Someone is in trouble. What's wrong with helping them out? Do you know how stressed Julian has been? He's losing his hair. He hasn't slept in days. The scene felt eerily familiar. Oh, right. That was me, when I was taking care of the children. Did she ever show me an ounce of concern? I stood up, my voice dripping with sarcasm. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. I used to lose my hair in clumps too, and I never slept. I've just gotten back to a normal routine, and I need to stick to it. She didn't seem to catch my meaning. She jumped up and grabbed my arm. Even if you don't do it for my sake, won't you do it for the children? Just then, two small, familiar figures came running over and hugged my legs. It was my eldest too. Daddy, where have you been? I missed you. Daddy, I missed you too. Can you take us home? Tears streamed down their faces. A pang of pain shot through me. After all, I had raised them. One was 9.5, the other 6. Even knowing they weren't mine, how could I be unmoved? Daddy missed you too. I hugged them, and in my peripheral vision, I saw my former in-laws standing outside the coffee shop window. It clicked. This was a setup, a pity play. They were using the children to force my hand. Julian's family was in trouble, so what? After everything they had done to me, they expected me to sell my house to help him? Was I sick? Did I enjoy being abused? You two be good and go to mommy now, I said, my voice gentle. I'm going to go buy you something nice to eat. It was a cruel lie, but it was necessary. I slipped out the back door of the coffee shop, went straight to a hotel, and turned my phone on silent. I slept until morning. When I checked my phone, there were, as expected, countless missed calls. I blocked the numbers, showered, and went to work. They should understand my position now. For the next few days, there were no more calls from Clara. 10 days later, I was at home, finally enjoying a video game, when there was a frantic knocking at the door. I opened it to find Clara, again. The moment the door opened, she fell to her knees, tears of remorse streaming down her face. Leo, please help me. If you don't help me, the children and I won't be able to survive. I was stunned. If this is about selling the house. No, it's not that, she cried, clutching my pants. Julian is a bastard. His family really did go bankrupt, but the need for funds was a lie. The money from my parents' house, the $5 million we borrowed from our relatives. He took it all and fled the country. We can't get in touch with him. I see his true colors now, she sobbed. I was fooled by his words. I know you still love me, right? I stood there, silent. She let go of my pants and started slapping her own face, hard. My parents have nowhere to live. We're drowning in debt. The private school only got paid for 1 semester, and the nanny for the baby ran away because I couldn't pay her. You're the only one who can help me now. Leo, let's start over, please. I promise I'll be a good wife from now on. In the past, her tears would have broken my heart. Now, I felt nothing but a strange sense of satisfaction. Are you still not over it? She asked, seeing my silence. She gritted her teeth as if making a momentous decision. Then I'll tell you the truth, something to make you feel better. The eldest isn't Julian's child either. The words were a bombshell. What do you mean? After he broke up with me, I had a one-night stand to get back at him. I got pregnant. My parents were afraid of the gossip and wanted me to have an abortion. But then I met you. And well, I nodded slowly. I do feel a bit better. Thank you for telling me. But we are divorced. I will not be your family's beast of burden anymore. Don't make me curse you. I pushed her away, stepped back inside, and closed the door, her wails growing louder on the other side. I didn't know if she was crying out of regret or for her own miserable fate. As for me, I was about to start my new life.